Have you ever looked in the mirror and noticed something different about your skin? Maybe it seemed drier, itchier, or perhaps a little duller than usual, and wondered if it meant something deeper was happening inside your body. Many people brush it off as just aging, or maybe the weather, but sometimes your skin is quietly sending signals about the health of your kidneys. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Vital Science for Seniors. In today's story, I want to walk with you through the surprising ways your skin can reveal what your kidneys are going through. Think of your skin as a messenger, whispering clues before the real trouble begins. By learning to listen, you can protect your kidney health, your energy, and your independence. So let's begin this journey of discovery together, one sign at a time. When Margaret, a retired teacher in her 70s, first came to see me, she didn't complain about her kidneys at all. What brought her in was something much simpler: her skin. She told me she felt like she was shedding every time she took off her sweater. Her arms were covered in flakes, her back itched so badly at night she could barely sleep, and no lotion seemed to work. At first, she wondered if it was just aging or the cold weather. But as we looked deeper, her skin was telling a story about her kidneys that she hadn't realized. Dryness, known medically as cirrhosis, is extremely common when kidney function begins to slip. Imagine the kidneys as the body's natural water balancers. They are like skilled gardeners, carefully watering the soil, not too much, not too little. But when the gardeners are tired, the soil dries and cracks. In the same way, when kidneys lose efficiency, your skin loses its moisture. Sweat and oil glands grow sluggish. The natural oils that keep the skin soft diminish, and what's left behind is tight, rough, sometimes painful dryness. But there's more. Alongside that dryness, many people experience an unrelenting itch, what we call pruritus. This isn't the kind of itch that comes with a mosquito bite or a little rash. It's a deep, gnawing itch that can stretch across the whole body, often worse at night, often without any obvious rash. Patients describe it as if their nerves themselves are irritated, and in a way they are. When the kidneys cannot fully clear toxins, waste products linger in the blood. Think of them as tiny sparks, irritating the skin and nerves from within. Even small imbalances in minerals like phosphorus and calcium can fan those sparks into a constant fire of itching. Margaret's story isn't unique. In fact, studies show that up to 40% of people on dialysis suffer with persistent itching. One study published in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology in 2019 found that severe itching in kidney patients was not only common, but also linked to poorer sleep, higher depression, and even increased risk of mortality. That may sound frightening, but it also shows us just how powerful these early skin clues can be. They aren't just cosmetic annoyances. They are signals of deeper imbalance that deserve attention. Now, the hopeful part: when Margaret began making changes, gentle moisturizers applied right after bathing, avoiding very hot showers, using fragrance-free creams that sealed moisture into her skin, she felt some relief almost immediately. We also adjusted her diet to lower phosphorus-rich foods, sometimes called a diet for kidney disease, focusing on low potassium foods like apples, berries, cabbage, and rice, while reducing processed meats and colas that can drive phosphorus higher. Her nephrologist fine-tuned her dialysis settings, ensuring toxins were better cleared. Over time, the itching eased and she began sleeping again. She looked less exhausted, and most importantly, she felt like she had regained some control. That's the key lesson here. Dryness and itching aren't just old skin. They can be the skin's way of whispering that your kidneys need more support. And by listening early, by protecting your skin and your kidneys together, you can stop small sparks from turning into wildfires. Harold, a 68-year-old former mechanic, came into my clinic one summer wearing long sleeves, even though the heat outside was sweltering. When I asked why, he rolled up his cuffs and showed me his arms. His skin was dotted with angry red bumps, some of them scabbed from scratching, others oozing just enough to stain his shirts. "Doc, I thought it was just allergies," he said, "but no cream seems to help." What Harold didn't know yet was that his kidneys were also struggling, and his rash was the first warning flag. When the kidneys falter, toxins and minerals that should be filtered out instead linger in the bloodstream. Imagine a water filter in your kitchen that's clogged. The water that comes through is cloudy, filled with tiny particles you'd rather not drink. In the same way, when the body's natural filters, the kidneys, can't clear the waste, that waste irritates tissues, including the skin. The result can be unusual rashes. One pattern we often see in advanced kidney disease is called acquired perforating dermatosis. The name sounds complicated, but what it really means is that small, itchy bumps form as the skin tries to push out waste and dead tissue. These bumps can merge into patches, and the itch can be maddening. Scratching, while momentarily relieving, only worsens the irritation, leading to infections. It becomes a cruel cycle. The more you scratch, the more the skin breaks down, the more vulnerable you become. Blisters can also appear, especially in people with end-stage kidney disease. These are fluid-filled sacs that seem to rise out of nowhere, often on the hands, feet, or arms. They can be startling. Little bubbles of clear fluid that sometimes pop, crust, and scar. Scientists believe this happens because waste products in the bloodstream weaken the skin's natural barrier, almost like thinning the walls of a balloon until it bulges. Sometimes medications or dialysis itself can also contribute. It's easy to underestimate the emotional toll of these skin changes. Harold admitted he stopped going to his weekly card game because he was embarrassed by the way his arms looked. That isolation only worsened his stress, and stress in turn can make itching worse. It's a vicious loop that too many seniors fall into quietly. The hopeful side is that these rashes and blisters can be managed. Moisturizing creams, especially thick ointments that trap water, help the skin heal. For severe cases, doctors may prescribe special topical or even oral medications to calm inflammation. If blisters appear, keeping them clean and protected prevents infection. And most importantly, adjusting the underlying kidney treatment, whether that's optimizing dialysis or reviewing medications, can dramatically reduce flare-ups. Harold began using a bland, fragrance-free ointment after every bath and wore cotton gloves at night to avoid scratching in his sleep. His nephrologist tweaked his treatment plan, and within weeks his arms looked calmer. More importantly, he felt confident enough to sit at the card table again, sleeves rolled up without shame. That's the real heart of it. These skin eruptions aren't just surface problems. They are windows into how the kidneys are coping. By caring for the skin and the kidneys together, we restore not only health, but also dignity and connection. When I first met Rosa, a 74-year-old grandmother of 5, her daughter had brought her in not for pain, but because she looked, in her daughter's words, faded. Rosa had always been known for her bright, lively complexion, but now her face seemed pale, almost gray. She felt tired, but she thought it was just part of getting older. Yet as we sat together, I noticed something more. Her eyelids looked puffy, and her ankles left deep marks when pressed, a telltale sign of swelling. Her skin was speaking for her kidneys. Kidneys don't just filter waste, they also control the balance of blood, hormones, and minerals that color our skin. When they weaken, two striking changes can appear. One is pallor, a washed-out look caused by anemia. Normally, the kidneys release a hormone that tells the bone marrow to make red blood cells. But when kidney function falters, that signal grows faint. With fewer red blood cells to carry oxygen, the skin loses its glow, turning pale or even grayish. It's like a house with the lights dimmed. Everything looks a little duller. Another change is yellowing or a sallow tint, which can occur when waste products, like bilirubin or urea, accumulate. In severe cases, a strange frost-like coating may even appear on the skin, called uremic frost, where tiny crystals of waste are literally pushed out through the pores. It looks almost like powdered sugar on the skin, but it is anything but sweet. And then there's swelling, known as edema. Imagine the kidneys as a drainage system for the body. When they can't flush out excess water and salt, fluid seeps into tissues, especially in gravity-prone areas like the ankles, legs, and under the eyes. For Rosa, this swelling meant her shoes didn't fit the same, and climbing stairs left her short of breath. Fluid isn't just uncomfortable. It can strain the heart and lungs, making everyday activities harder. The science is sobering, but the steps toward relief are real. Simple changes can lighten the burden. Lowering salt intake, for instance, helps prevent extra fluid from building up. Foods often labeled as heart-healthy, like fresh fruits and vegetables, can also protect the kidneys when chosen wisely, focusing on low-potassium foods like apples, green beans, and cauliflower. Medications called diuretics may be prescribed, gently coaxing the body to release excess fluid. For anemia, doctors may recommend treatments that restore the hormone signal for red blood cells, giving the skin back its natural color and energy. Rosa's story had a hopeful turn. With a carefully adjusted diet for kidney disease, along with medication to support her blood levels, her color began to return. She told me, "When I look in the mirror now, I see myself again." Her puffiness eased, and with less heaviness in her legs, she started walking around her neighborhood park once more, hand in hand with her granddaughter. That's the gift of listening to the body's signals. Skin color changes and swelling may seem like cosmetic nuisances, but they can be the body's early warning system, whispering about kidney stress before louder alarms ring. By paying attention, seniors like Rosa not only protect kidney health, but reclaim the small joys that make life rich. One of the most striking cases I've ever seen was Thomas, a 72-year-old retired carpenter. He came to me with painful purplish patches on his thighs that had slowly turned into sores. "Doc, I don't understand," he said. "I take care of my skin, but these wounds just don't heal." What Thomas was facing was a condition called calciphylaxis, a complication of advanced kidney disease where calcium and phosphorus build up in tiny blood vessels, choking off circulation to the skin. The result can be ulcers that are not only painful, but also difficult to heal, sometimes even life-threatening. Why does this happen? Imagine the bloodstream as a river, carrying not just water, but minerals in perfect balance. The kidneys act like lock keepers, making sure calcium and phosphorus flow steadily without flooding the banks. But when the kidneys weaken, those minerals can settle in the wrong places, hardening into deposits inside small vessels. It's like cement clogging a narrow stream, cutting off the flow downstream. In the skin, that means tissue starves of oxygen and nutrients, leading to those angry patches and sores. Calciphylaxis is serious, but it also teaches us how closely skin health is tied to what we eat and how we protect our kidneys. Diet for kidney disease isn't just about watching salt, it's also about balancing minerals. Limiting foods very high in phosphorus, such as dark colas, processed meats, and certain dairy products, helps lighten the load. Doctors may also prescribe phosphate binders, medicines that act like sponges, soaking up excess phosphorus before it harms the body. Dialysis, too, can be adjusted to better clear these minerals and protect the skin from further damage. But kidney problems don't just show up as dramatic sores. Sometimes the clues are quieter, hiding in something as ordinary as your fingernails. Nails are little windows into the bloodstream, and in kidney disease, they often tell the tale. One common change is called half-and-half nails, where the top portion looks pale or white, while the lower part turns pink or brown. It's as if the nail has been divided by an invisible line. Other times, the nails grow brittle, streaked with white bands known as Muirach's lines. These nail changes happen because waste products accumulate when kidneys can't fully filter the blood. They also reflect shifts in proteins, minerals, and blood flow. It's like the nails are tiny scorecards, marking how well the body's inner systems are balanced. For someone over 50, paying attention to these small changes are as important as checking blood pressure or sugar. Thomas's care involved more than creams and bandages. He began a carefully guided eating plan rich in kidney-friendly, low-potassium foods, things like apples, cabbage, and rice, while reducing the heavy hitters that worsened his mineral imbalance. With close medical follow-up, phosphate-binding medication, and attentive wound care, his sores began to improve. It wasn't fast, but it was progress, and with progress came hope. He told me later, "I used to see these wounds as the end of me. Now I see them as a reminder to keep fighting." Even something as small as a nail or as painful as a skin ulcer carries a message. Your kidneys need care. And when you act on those messages, you aren't just protecting an organ. You are preserving the ability to keep living life on your terms. As we've seen, the skin can be a mirror for the kidneys, showing us signs long before lab numbers like high creatinine or scans reveal trouble. Dryness, itching, rashes, color changes, swelling, even shifts in nails. These are not just cosmetic annoyances. They are signals, gentle at first, urging you to protect kidney health before greater harm arrives. The good news is that awareness leads to action, and action leads to hope. No matter your age, you can listen, respond, and reclaim your vitality. Your body is always speaking, and the question is, are we listening?